LegCo election turnout rate improves when compared to the 2021 election. Chief Executive John Lee hails smooth and successful election during difficult times. Hello, you're watching TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. The Legislative Council election has concluded with the polling rate for geographical constituencies reaching 31.9%. That's higher than the previous LegCo election. It took only about 7 hours to count all the ballots and announce the results, faster than the 11 hours last time. Mimo Singhai reports.
The polling of the Legislative Council general election ended on Sunday. More than 1.31 million people voted in the geographical constituencies, with the turnout rate being 31.9%. The number of registered voters for this term is about 4.13 million, which is roughly 340,000 fewer than 4 years ago. The actual number of individuals who voted recorded a drop of 33,000 compared to the last election. The New Territories Southwest constituency had the highest turnout rate at 32.69%. The lowest turnout rate was in New Territories Northeast at 30.15%. Looking at the major political parties' performance, Democratic Alliance for the Betterment and Progress of Hong Kong remains the biggest winner, sweeping 20 seats. This came even after its total number of votes dropped by over a third, from 680,000 to 430,000. Business and Professionals Alliance for Hong Kong have 8 seats in functional and election committee constituencies, but it failed to win in any in the geographical constituencies. Hong Kong Federation of Trade Unions won 7 seats. Same as the last election, the party obtained 3 seats in the geographical constituencies. The Liberal Party took 3 seats in the functional constituencies and 1 from the election committee constituencies. The New People's Party only managed to secure 3 seats this time, with 2 coming from the geographical constituencies.
Among the 90 elected LegCo members of the 8th term, 50 are incumbents. The remaining are newbies. Memos 9, TVB News.
Sai Kung District Councillor Christine Fong successfully entered the Legislative Council on her 6th attempt after securing more than 58,000 votes in the New Territories Southeast Geographical Constituency. Here is Mimo Singhai again.
Veteran Sai Kung District Councillor Christine Fong received 58,828 votes in the LegCo election, the most among all candidates across the city. After failing to win in LegCo elections 5 times, Fong finally succeeded with an overwhelming victory. At around noon on Monday, Fong arrived at Hang Hau, where her political career began, to thank her supporters who congratulated her success. Some shook hands with Fong. A few gave the politician a hug. Thank you all. Each of your vote matters, Fong said.
This is a good encouragement for all the youth to not to give up. I hope they can know my story about what I did. I lose 5 times, so if I give up, before that, then I will not have this today.
Fong, who has a master's degree in fire safety engineering from Hong Kong Polytechnic University, said her priority is to handle the aftermath of the Tai Po blaze once the new term of LegCo commences. Another winner in the New Territories Southeast Geographical Constituency was Chris Ip from the DAB. Ip secured his seat with 26,250 votes. In the New Territories Northwest Geographical Constituency, the DAB's Holden Zhao secured another term after receiving 42,347 votes. His opponent, Zhang Hofeng from the Round Table, headed by veteran politician Michael Tian, won the second seat with 34,756 votes. Memos 9, TVB News.
Chief Executive John Lee congratulated the newly elected Legislative Council members. He said he hopes to work with LegCo members to advance post-fire support and reconstruction efforts. Writing in social media, Lee said, at a time when Hong Kong society is facing common challenges, the successful LegCo election reflects respect and the constitutional order and the rule of law. He thanked every voter for exercising their civic rights and responsibilities. Beijing's Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office said it believes the new LegCo members will be able to properly handle the relationship between the executive and legislative branches and fully supports the chief executive and the SAR government in governing according to law. Bill Tang of the Federation of Trade Unions has been dubbed the King of Votes after his victory in Kowloon East with 53,675 votes, the highest among male candidates. For Hong Kong Island West, Judy Chan of the New People's Party took the seat previously held by her party's founder, Regina Ip. Samantha Lee reports on the results in constituencies in Hong Kong Island and in Kowloon.
The two winners in Kowloon Central, DAB's Derry Lee and non-affiliated Kiseng Yang, are both re-elected lawmakers. They received 53,529 and 28,163 votes, respectively, in Kowloon Central, which is the most hotly contested geographical constituency. Lee, who is a member of the National People's Congress Standing Committee, won more than 90,000 votes in the last election, almost double this year's tally. In Kowloon East, Bill Tang of the FTU comfortably retained his seat with the highest number of votes among male candidates in all geographical constituencies. Newcomer Chen Pui-kong of the DAB narrowly defeated Leung Si-wan and his party colleague incumbent Frankie Ngan. For Kowloon West, both the DAB's Winston Chang and Scott Leung of the Kowloon West New Dynamic succeeded in their re-election bid with 41,767 and 25,692 votes respectively. For Island West, incumbent DAB's Chang Ha-feng won with 30,543 votes, followed by the New People's Party's Judy Chen, who switched from the election committee constituency. The two Chans beat FTU's Kwok Wai-keun, who was a legislator representing the labor sector. Judy Chen credits her win to Regina Ip for entrusting her and vows to strengthen her LegCo work in the coming 4 years. For Island East, the FTU's Ng Chao-pei was re-elected, despite getting 24,000 votes, less than that of previous election. Newcomer DAB District Councillor Chakit Lane secured a seat with 22,054 votes. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Still ahead, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ready to discuss second phase of Gaza ceasefire plan. And families provide DNA samples to identify Tai Po fire victims. Chinese Vice President Hang Zhen met with visiting German Foreign Minister Johann Vadeful in Beijing today. Han said China and Germany are important economic and trading partners and can achieve mutually beneficial results through greater cooperation. German Foreign Minister Vadeful said he had made progress in persuading China to grant rare earth export licenses to German manufacturers during his visit. However, he said there is still a lot of work to be done. Vadeful said he had discussed the key issues of disruptions in Chinese deliveries of semiconductors, rare earths, and other commodities in his meetings on Monday with China's trade minister. The German foreign minister said trade restrictions, particularly on rare earths, are just as much a cause for concern for German companies as overcapacity in electromobility and steel. He stressed in times of growing international tensions and geopolitical upheaval, direct, intensive exchange with China is necessary, indeed indispensable. Israel and Hamas are planning to move into the second phase of a ceasefire deal when the Palestinian group returns the remains of the last hostage in the coming days. Stage 2 will see the deployment of an international security force in Gaza and a temporary Palestinian government under the supervision of an international board. David Garrett reports.
Aid agencies say they've been able to feed hungry Gazans they've been unable to reach just weeks ago. Israel's easing of restrictions and opening of crossings in the north in November, allowing the World Food Programme to reach Gaza City for the first time in 2 months. As ration boxes were distributed, those who had been displaced by war returned to devastation, but able to get their hands on canned fish, beans, jam, tea and sugar. Some say there wasn't enough, and those dishing out supplies admit they've managed to get in about half of what was planned when the shaky ceasefire took hold in October. It is not just Gazans displaced during recent fighting. Israelis in the north, where the border road looks into Lebanon, are returning. 60,000 were forced to flee as skirmishes with Hezbollah intensified in 2023. The shrapnel from rockets remain on the ground a year after a tense ceasefire was agreed. This used to be a place for tourism and cultivation. Now there is tension in the air. Israeli forces continue to fire almost daily on the Lebanese militant group who've not disarmed. Those caught in the middle fear escalation at any time.
When I teach my girl how to ride a bike, Hezbollah people watching on us. And that thought is something that's very hard to take out of my mind. And it's something that I'm thinking every day.
The farmer is sceptical of a government promise that his home is safe and the economy will rebound. Israel's Prime Minister presses on. Benjamin Netanyahu, who welcomed Germany's Chancellor over the weekend, says agreements are holding and the region is stabilising.
And now we have a second phase, no less daunting, and that is to achieve the disarmament of Hamas and the demilitarization of Gaza. And as I mentioned to the Chancellor, there's a third phase, and that is to de-radicalize Gaza. Something that also people believed was impossible, but it was done in Germany, it was done in Japan, it's done in the Gulf states.
Speaking in Qatar, Hamas say they'll lay down or freeze and store weapons if things stay on track.
Therefore, we are talking about, on one line, to end fully the first phase. Second, to initiate a political process which has to end with an independent Palestinian state. And during this time, we can go for 5, 7, 10 years ceasefire.
David Garrett, TVB News.
And back to the LegCo election results. Hong Kong Olympic gold medalist Vivian Kong wins the Tourism Functional Constituency. With more on the Functional and Election Committee constituencies, here's Samantha Lee again.
江文慧女士在上述選舉中當選。
Paris Olympic fencing champion Vivian Kong wins in the tourism functional constituency, outpointing her rival Ma Yak-chiu 131 votes to 23.
旅遊業係香港4大支柱產業之一。
She expressed gratitude to the sector's support and pledged to be a policy advocate and a pillar of society who will speak on behalf of the people. Business and Professionals Alliance for Hong Kong secured 8 seats in the election, with 6 from functional constituencies. Former chairman of the Hong Kong Institution of Engineers, Aaron Bog, takes a seat by receiving 3,058 votes.
喺上述選舉之中當選。
Outgoing LegCo veteran Tommy Cheung, chairman of the Liberal Party, passed the baton to his party colleague Leung Chun to represent the catering industry. Incumbent Peter Siu retained his seat for the wholesale and retail sector. The Liberal Party did not field candidates in the transport constituency, but Nicholas Chan won a seat for the legal sector, bringing the party's tally of LegCo seats to 4. For other constituencies, Henderson Land executive Won Ho Ming earned a seat for the real estate and construction sector, while the chief executive of the Hong Kong Council of Social Service, Chairman Yi, won in the social welfare constituency. In total, 12 lawmakers won re-election bid in functional constituencies. They include David Lam for medical, Chen Chen-ying for finance, Robert Lee for financial services, among others. For the 40-seat election committee constituency, 24 incumbent legislators retained their spots. The champion of votes goes to Yu Pek Leung, followed by Chen Ho-yan, who received 1,386 votes. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
Police today began collecting DNA samples from the families of those missing in the Tai Po fire. so as to assist in identifying the remains. Danny Cho has more.
Police set up an identification point at the Convoy Community Hall in Tai Po for families of the missing Wanford Court residents. 31 people remain missing, and the identities of some remains have not yet been confirmed. Police have arranged for the families of the missing and those who have earlier identified the remains from photographs to undergo DNA testing and oral swab sampling for scientific identification. Results are expected in several weeks. A family member of a couple in Wansheng House who wished not to be photographed spoke about a desire to have her parents identified. She said she could only examine remains or ashes, but said it is already painful. Meanwhile, wearing full protective gear, members of the police disaster victim identification team continued their search at Wanford Court. The insurance authority said that regarding the Wanford Court fire, the industry has found about 1,800 relevant property accident insurance policies and some 10,000 life insurance policies. Danny Zhou, TVB News.
That's the news. Thanks for watching. Pearl Magazine is up shortly. See you then.